to Roy Hattersley. He said, well, what part of the party does he belong to? And I said, I think he's a Hattersleyite.
The image of the Labour Party has got to be an image that's more dynamic, more modern, more suited to the 1980s.
The next thing was he was candidate up in Sedgefield. And I came up on a Friday evening to speak at his constituency meeting, and I understand he said to somebody, it was very kind, isn't it, to Michael Foot to come up all this way on a Friday evening to speak for me in my constituency. Wonder why he's done it. And so the other chap turned to him, and I think he says, well, it may be due to the fact that Plymouth Argyle is playing the Darlington on the Saturday, and that they fit in, which was, of course, the actual fact.
And I say to the people of this country, we ran for office as New Labour, we will govern as New Labour.
Tony Blair has got many virtues as a Prime Minister. He's got a few vices too, I think.
I'm particularly pleased, actually, that we've chosen this estate to deliver the first speech that I'm making as Prime Minister, and it's for a very simple reason. I think for the past 18 years, often the poorest people in our country have been forgotten by government.
Compared with the last days of Callaghan government, the last Labour government was in power, the influence and power of the cabinet has been greatly diminished, and that has been Tony Blair's way of running the government. I think that's a big mistake, because in times of crisis, and there are still some crises going to happen, the Prime Minister needs the backing of intelligent people in the cabinet. Gordon Brown, Claire Short, and all the others. It's an extremely able body of people. Sometimes because they've had such a big majority, they haven't worried so much about what was the opinion of members of Parliament, and I think that's a big mistake too. The thing I most admire about him, by the way, is the way he'll take responsibility. You know, he doesn't try and shift responsibility onto other shoulders when the government is under attack for some particular reason, or the Labour movement is under attack for some particular reason, maybe good or bad. Sometimes I think the reasons for the attacks are bad. Sometimes I think the reasons for the criticism have got grounds, but whatever happens, he doesn't run away.
Be under no illusion, though, also. It was New Labour what won it. And let us learn that lesson well. We ran for office as New Labour, we will govern as New Labour.
I don't think I ever used the term New Labour. Maybe it's I don't like it because it appears to be casting aspersions on old Labour, and there are many things about old Labour that I think are very good indeed, especially the political philosophers who taught us our business and taught us what socialism is and what democratic socialism is.
That's why it seems to me that if we are to safeguard employment in Great Britain, we have to be resolute about it and clear about it.
Larry Bevan, he was the real great democratic socialist of the century, and by every rights he should have been the leader of the party in the 50s, and if that had happened, he would have been able, I believe, to guide the party in the proper way. The democratic socialism must be translated into practice if it's going to be any good. Well, you don't have to be New Labour to argue about those things.
We can only safeguard employment for British workers by socialist planning in Great Britain and socialist planning in other parts of the world.
Anyhow, here's a footnote to footnotes. It wasn't a donkey jacket.